Hello Scorpio and welcome to my channel Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements looking at your connection between you and the person that you are dealing with and are needing to learn the most from right now. We'll be pulling for all three sides of the connection, so we'll look at your energy toward it, their energy toward it, and the energy in between it, the concept being that there are three sides to every story. So we're looking at your version of the truth, their version of the truth, and this higher level unbiased truth in the middle. This middle section is looking at what is the deeper purpose of the connection and the best way for you to move forward in order to align further with your higher self. Friendly reminder that these are general readings and they are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation and to leave what does not. On that note, and especially if you're a cross-watcher, just know that this whole reading can be reversed. If that is the case for you, that is totally fine and totally normal. Again, the point is to take what helps and leave what doesn't. Last thing is that any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading or coaching session with me is in the description box below, and I will also be making an announcement at the end of this video. So, with that being said, let's jump on in. We're going to start with looking at overall energy through oracle cards, and then we'll dive deeper into the story with tarot as we progress. But first, I want to see what we've got here, Scorpio, for your side of this connection toward the person you are dealing with and are needing to learn the most from right now. Passion, codependency, and dream come true. So this connection is something that really surpasses, or in the beginning especially, really surpassed your expectations. I feel like you have a very strong draw toward this connection. However, I feel like as things have developed, things have changed a little bit, and I feel that there's been this trying to get back to the way things were in the beginning. There's obviously a tremendous amount of passion here, a tremendous amount of, love and care that you do have for this person, but I do feel that there's some sort of a cycle, or I don't know what this codependency card is necessarily representing. But I do definitely feel that Spirit is trying to draw your attention toward something here. But let's look at this person's energy toward you. Because yeah, seeing this connection is a dream come true. But there's something about it. I don't know yet. This person's energy toward you, Scorpio. Wildcard with fate. Is there anything else here? This person's energy is very unpredictable. Dead end with know your worth. This person's energy is very unpredictable. And I think that might be the thing that you're struggling with, is like you met this person and you saw and felt all of these wonderful things in them and in the connection. And then I feel like because there is such an unpredictability here with their energy, like there are times where they're present and they're in the connection and it feels really good. And then there are times where they're absent, or they start to withdraw, or they create distance and create space, and it makes you feel like really, really not good. So you've kind of been on this roller coaster almost with this person for a while. I do feel that this person, because this fate card sometimes to me can represent like, not always, but sometimes it represents like something that's karmic, when we're fated to certain karmic cycles until we break out of them. And I feel like there might be something karmic that this person is dealing with that is blocking them from, like, that is keeping them in that wishy-washy energy. And no, that doesn't automatically mean that there's like a third party or anything like that. Karmic situations can be so many different things, and karmic cycles can appear in so many different ways. So let's look at the truth of this connection between Scorpio and this person. Breakups and makeups. So this is that cycle that I'm feeling. It's like this distance reconnection, distance reconnection, distance reconnection. It doesn't necessarily mean full-blown breakup, getting back together. It could for some of you, but yeah, that's that wishy-washiness. And it's like they're very in and out. And this is a cycle that I feel like is weighing pretty heavily on you, as it would for anybody. Friendship, follow your heart. And that's the thing that's so, because there's the confusion. It's like, I feel like there are times where they treat you like the way that you want to be treated. And then there are times where they treat you almost like you don't matter. But I don't feel like you don't matter. But it's like, that I feel like is the wishy-washiness that you're getting here. And then this confusion, I mean, this confusion makes sense. It's like not really knowing how they feel or what they want or where they're going with this, which in some ways like leaves you in this really unfair place of just kind of like waiting to see what happens, waiting to see, are they going to show up today? Are they going to be there today? Are they going to make me feel the way I want to feel today? Or is it going to be the opposite? So yeah, I don't really know what's going on here, but I do feel like there's a lot to unpack here. Sometimes when I am channeling some of these connections, I have so much come through at once. And I have to kind of take a step back, and I literally have this reminder. It's like, okay, one card at a time. Because I feel like sometimes it's like I channel it all, and then I have to sit here and break it down piece by piece. So there, and where I'm going with that is like specifically in this reading, there's a lot here. So I feel like there's a lot to kind of break down. Overall theme of this for Scorpio. And that's why I think tarot is really cool, is because I think it helps break down, you know, piece by piece what's going on in the energy when it is very overwhelming and there are a lot of moving parts. Overall theme of this for Scorpio. Oop. This is not, okay, this one. Okay. Second option, which then I was disillusioned. Interesting. Second option, and I feel like this is what I was kind of getting at, is like sometimes you feel very prioritized and sometimes you really don't. Maybe you feel like an option, or this person shows up when it's convenient, or I don't know, whatever it is. I certainly feel like you're not feeling prioritized majority of the time. I do feel like you see this person in a very you admire them. Miscommunication too is part of it, and that's what I gather here. So there's no communication. You might talk to each other, but I feel like there's no communication, like getting to the root of things. But I do feel like you view this person, you admire them in some way, and I feel like that is mutual too. But I also feel that, you know, rose-colored glasses can be pretty intense when we see somebody, you know, through the person that they could be or that we want them to be. So I don't know. There's like, it's interesting because these feel like three separate messages. So like I said, I do feel like there is a lot to break down. And usually these are more, I'm going to be honest with you, for me, to help me kind of unpack what's going on. Because sometimes I feel like, you know, when so much is coming through, like this helps almost like give me a checklist. I don't know why I'm doing so much explaining of my process in this reading. All right, Scorpio side of this connection. Right out of the gate, the Devil. The Knight of Wands. There's another reading I did this week where the devil was the very first card out. I don't remember what it was, but which one it was, but could be dealing with a Capricorn or an earth sign, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. That you don't have to be, though. I feel like I get what this is kind of saying. Yeah, there's a lot to break down. Okay, Ten of Swords. I don't know if I read the Chariot in reverse. Ah, okay, that's the missing piece. The Ten of Wands. Okay, yeah, High Priestess. Two of Wands in reverse. Ooh, okay. 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 I feel like if you were to write out all the things that you're looking for in a relationship, like on paper, I feel like this person matches a lot of those things, which I feel is why you kind of have this dream come true card. Is it almost feels like this is the person, you've been waiting for. Like, oh my gosh, I've been, waiting for this connection. And then it's this Ten of Swords here. This feels recurring in this connection. Betrayal or abandonment or just feeling hurt, let down, disappointed, not chosen, like things of that nature, I feel like keep happening in this, no matter how much you pour into it. Because I do feel with the Knight of Wands here, this is very much, opening up, being very vulnerable, like letting yourself fall almost is kind of what I heard, which I do feel this connection rare. It feels very rare for you. Maybe like, oh my gosh, I've never felt this way before. I've never experienced anything like this. And then the devil makes a lot of sense here because this connection provides you with so much hope for what things could be that it's almost like there's this attachment that's been created to how things could feel consistently if this person were to not do this Ten of Swords, whatever this is. So much. It's like there are so many good things about the connection, and there are so much potential that you do see that there's a lot of holding on to like what this could be. And I don't blame you, right? When something comes around and it kind of provides this promise of all of the wonderful things you could experience, like of course you're going to want to try to make that work. And I feel like you've been on this journey of trying to do whatever you can to make this connection be what you desire it to be. But with the Chariot in reverse, it feels like you always end up kind of back in the same place when it comes to this connection. Back to, I don't know if it's the start or things never really move forward past a certain point. And maybe that's when this person starts to disconnect or starts to withdraw, and then you do it all over again. And it keeps you, and then, yeah, it's like you experience the Ten of Swords whenever they withdraw, but then they come back and it's like, oh my gosh, it's happening. Finally I'm getting what I want, and then they withdraw. And it's just like this recurring pattern here. And I think that, you have this High Priestess, but then you have the Two of Wands in reverse. And the High Priestess is all about intuition. The Two of Wands in reverse is all about overthinking. And the Two of Wands is kind of covering this High Priestess, where I feel like you're so in your head about this, understandably so, that it's hard for you to make sense of like what's really going on, like what this means, and how to essentially move forward in this. Because I think that like in a perfect world, you're like, this person would be consistent, they would commit, they would choose me, it would be great. But I feel like you've been in this cycle for so long that it's making it really hard for you to do anything at all, because it's like, I don't want to let go because there's so much potential and promise here, but also the harder I try, the more I end up getting hurt. So you're kind of in this stuck place of like, I don't really know what to do. And I think that again, it makes a lot of sense why you would feel that way, because with the Ten of Wands, this is, like I said, this is something that's been like weighing very heavily on you. And when we're looking for we're looking to be loved well, to be treated well, and we consistently experience the opposite of that, it starts to affect us. It affects, the way you feel about yourself, how worthy, you feel you are, your confidence. And maybe it hasn't yet, but I do feel that there's certain aspects of this that are starting to really affect you. And I feel like that's where kind of the codependency aspect comes from. But again, anyone in your shoes is, going to start to feel that way. So there's nothing to blame yourself for or anything like that. But I don't know. I just feel like there's more to the story and to understanding what is going on here. Because, to say that this is unfair is an oversimplification. It's like you feel trapped almost. Not trapped necessarily like trapped in this connection, but trapped in the experience of like hurting from this and not really knowing how to stop hurting or how to get yourself to a place where you're not hurting and experiencing that Ten of Swords anymore. This person's energy toward you, a wild card with fate. Hierophant in reverse, Five of Swords, and there's more earth sign energy because you do have this Taurus energy here. It doesn't have to be earth sign though. It absolutely does not have to be. I just like to call it out when I see it. Nine of Pentacles. Seven of Wands in reverse. See, this is, there's the Ten of Swords. It's interesting that it's falling in the same place as yours did too. And then the Tower. And then there is the King of Pentacles again. Two of Swords and the Death. Okay. How do I break this down? The Hierophant in reverse is definitely this indication that this person is needing a little bit of like a wake-up call. Because they're doing things, not just in this connection, but in their life that are actually sabotaging the very happiness that they're trying to create. And it's interesting because I don't feel, because again, Hierophant in reverse to me is very much a lack of awareness. Like, I don't think that they have a deeper understanding of like what's really going on with them. And I will say that's what awakening is all about, right? It's about becoming aware of our subconscious mind and how powerful it is and how much it drives us, and, our limiting beliefs and our triggers and our traumas, and then rewiring ourselves, right? But before we do that, we are going to find ourselves in cycles that are trying to wake us up to these things. And this person, one of the biggest things that they struggle with, or one of the biggest things that they do, is keep anything good for them at a distance. And it's so interesting because you have the Five of Swords with the Nine of Pentacles, right? So it's like anything they desire, they push away. Anything that they want, any good feeling that they have, they sabotage. And the Seven of Wands in reverse is a lot about kind of self-doubt, doubting oneself, doubting one's capabilities. And I feel like this person carries a lot of self-doubt. I feel like they are not very confident, which is interesting because I feel like, I don't know, they kind of give off this energy of maybe being somebody who is very confident, but deep down they're not. This Ten of Swords, I feel like they've experienced a lot of hurt in relationships in the past. Abandonment or betrayal, or to them, love equals Ten of Swords. Love equals pain, right? And I feel like there is a lot of projecting that, like expecting that almost, like expecting that from you or from anybody who gets close to them. So instead of letting people in and letting things develop and letting themselves be vulnerable and open and emotionally available, they do the opposite. And their behavior stems from trying to protect themselves from that pain. But if we protect ourselves from getting hurt, we never actually open up to the possibility of love, right? Of success and of getting to experience all the things that we want. So with this Tower here, I feel like they have a tendency to really burn things down. And that's the wording for some reason that's coming through. Burn things down before they actually even really get a chance to start. So that's what you're feeling. You know, things start to develop. And then, you know, this person, as things start to get deep and as things start to get a little bit more serious or more feelings start to come out, this person goes, oh my gosh, this is opening up the possibility of me getting hurt. Let me withdraw. Take some time to start to feel a little bit more indifferent and then come back in and do it all again. And I think that the wishy-washiness that they're, you know, the way that they're showing up in this, it's, you know, not a reflection of you not being good enough, which I feel like is interesting because it kind of feels like you're internalizing that way or seeing it through that lens where it's like, oh, they're not choosing me or they're not committing or they're not doing these things. Therefore, I must not be good enough for them, or let me try harder. Let me show them that this is a safe space. But it's hard because people's ego is a very powerful thing. And our ego, regardless of who you are, is going to drive you into making decisions that go in alignment with like where you have the most control and where you have the most power and where you essentially can protect yourself from the most amount of fear that you have. And in relationships, the way that the ego shows up is through lack of vulnerability, you know, control, manipulation, things of that nature. And it's never coming from this place of like trying to hurt or harm you. It's coming from this place of self-protection. Now, we can have empathy, right, for where people are at and have this understanding of like, okay, this is why they do those things and this is how it's coming out and this is, you know, why they're not choosing me or whatever. But the goal of that isn't to try to change them. The goal of understanding that isn't, okay, now you know that, so now you can fix it. The goal of that is to understand that people can only give and receive love to the extent that they have done the healing to allow themselves to feel worthy, deserving, and safe in love. And that is an individual choice that has to be made, right? So for us, we have to make sure that we are seeing people through the lens of who they are, not through the lens of who we want them to be or hope that someday they are. Because if we aren't seeing them for who they are, we're going to invest in the connection for who they could be and lose ourselves in trying to get them to become that person. And then what that's going to do is instead of pulling them up to like our level of like consciousness and healing, it's actually going to pull us down to where they're at. And it doesn't mean that one is better than the other. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. Healing doesn't make you better than another person, but it does raise your vibration. It raises your level of consciousness, right? Your level of awareness. So it's hard because you're wanting this person to be somebody that based on where they are in their life, in their healing journey, in their growth journey, they are not capable of being. And I think that this is the most important lesson we have to learn in love and in relationships, is people show us where they're at, who they're capable of being right now in this moment. And our job, if you will, is not to try to make them be the potential that we see or to make them treat us the way that we deserve, but to accept that, accept where people are at, accept how people treat us, and then decide, I'm not saying tolerate it, but then decide, is who this person is right now, is that enough for me? Or am I deserving of better? But it gets hard when we're very drawn to somebody's potential because especially when we see glimpses of it. So I certainly understand that. But, typically when we're trying to look for love in people who are not capable of loving us well, there's some sort of cycle that we carry as well, some sort of wounding that is driving us. And diving into understanding that is how we ultimately break out of that cycle and attract the love that we deserve. So I'm going to hop on over to the extended. You have confusion with breakups and makeups. I'm going to dive deeper into this, looking at the deeper purpose of the connection and the best way for you to move forward in alignment with your higher self. Any information for that is in the description box below. What's also in the description box below is information for my upcoming workshop, Manifesting Financial Freedom, Transform Your Relationship with Money. I'm very excited about this workshop. For those of you who aren't aware of my past, I used to be a personal financial advisor. I was I experienced a lot of success in that field and I was very passionate about it, but through my spiritual awakening, I stepped more into a role of being a spiritual life coach, which is definitely what's more aligned with me. And I still get to help people with their financial aspect of their lives, but coming from a very different place. So this workshop is a little bit different than workshops I've done in the past, and it's kind of combining some practical knowledge that I have around finances with some spiritual insights that I have acquired over my journey to help you create financial freedom in your own life. This workshop is going to take place on Friday, September 19th at 6 p.m. Central Time, and it'll run till 7:30 p.m. Central Time. If you cannot make it live and you purchase a ticket, you will also receive access to the recording of the event and all of the materials. So if you want to be a part of this workshop, purchase a ticket. You can either attend live or experience it through the recording. Any information for that is at the top of the description box below. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email or drop a comment on my channel. Thank you so much, Scorpio, as always, for your support of my channel. I do obviously hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you were needing today. And as always, I wish you nothing but love and healing and all of the wonderful things that you deserve and desire on your journey moving forward. All right, bye, Scorpio.